Hey guys, we're going to do a set of, at least attempt to do a set of fuel lines on this weed eater. This is the weed eater that we made a video of. This one, I believe, yeah, this is the one that my wife found at the thrift store. We done a video on. It does run, but it had the lines where they're brittle and it was leaking. You see where they're brittle. They was leaking around the tank while it was running. I found a set of lines. It was the last ones that they had at Walmart. I'm hoping it's the right size. It's this brand here. I already got them out of the package. The only thing that sucked is you get these, a lot of times they come with, they'll have the lines. If you can find the right kit anyway, it'll come with the lines, the primer ball, and the screen that's down inside the tank to screen out the dirt. But the only one they had is the one that came with the two lines, which is these two. And all the ones I've ever seen, they've always been two different colors, two different diameters. One's always bigger than the other. You got the big one that goes up, I think the big one goes to the primer ball. The little one goes to the carb, I think. Let me double check so I ain't wrong. Yeah, I think it's like the big one's the primer, the little one's the fuel line. And doing it, I was going to just replace them, but I had someone send me a message and was wanting to do a video on how I change them anyway. Usually it's pretty easy and not too bad. It was I don't know if you can see, they have a YouTube channel. It's BH Woke, W-O-K-E. Looks like they do Fortnite stuff. I'll definitely have to check their channel out because my son loves Fortnite. Actually, my youngest son and my daughter. So I'll definitely give them, check them out. At least my kids will for sure, since they love the Fortnite thing. So we'll get this and get it apart. It comes apart pretty easy. You got, turn so you can see it. Allen head bolts on this one. You got 4 here, and then up at the top you have 1 up here, and then once the tank comes off you spin it around and you have 2 on the back. So I won't bore you with that. I'll get the tank off real quick, turn the camera back on, and show you what we got. Alright, now the 5 screws are out, the 4 here, the 1 up there. Fuel lines are still hooked up, and they should slide. They'll either snap off or they'll slide off. That one slid off, and got lucky, that one slid off too. Now the tank is still hooked to the bracket, or to the plastic cover on the back, and you can see how it's got the 2 screws. They go in, and you have to watch because your gasket, some of them are different. Some of them have a rubber gasket that sticks to the case to seal it, and some of them have, like this one here, it's stuck to the casing of the engine. And just want to make sure if that gasket breaks, or if you get any kind of debris on it, clean it up. You don't want to cause a leak. And this is the one that we was talking about. You can see all the grime on it that before I gave it away I was wanting to clean up because it's pretty grody. So after we get the lines in, I'll put it all back together, and then some other point before I give it away, I'll clean all that up so they don't have to deal with all that nastiness. So I'll go ahead and take these 2 out, so we have just the tank itself. Hopefully this Allen wrench fits all the same. Yeah, there we go. So we get these 2 out. They're pretty tight. And make sure you drain your tank. I made that mistake once. It ended up being a big mess. Here we go. Covers off. So we have just the tank. And actually it still has a little bit of gas in it. Dump this back in the gas can. There we go. So now all the fuel's out of it. See, it's It's pretty grody. This old dog's head still runs good, but it definitely has some use. Now, the last few I've done, you see where you got both your lines down in there, and it's so brittle. It's just like sliding in and out. It should be really tight. That one's the same way. Now, the other ones where they're new, they're softer. They should expand when they go through the tank. This one might be able to pull. No, I have to cut it. Okay. Oop, knocked over the tripod. So I've always done it was just took a pair of the hell they call these hemostats, whatever they're called, and you can see the little connector right there, and just start dragging it down through. Some of them, if they don't have the connector, they come through the top, or they'll just snap off, one or the other. And come on, there we go. So there's that one. Wasn't as brittle as I thought. Just leaked apparently, so we'll save that. I don't know if I've ever reused any of those. Might have, I'm not sure. We'll try it. I know on the tanks when I do them, because when these set down in here, you got to figure it was only down in the tank that far. I always leave them just a little bit longer than that, just to make sure that it's definitely picking up fuel when you prime it. And you probably don't necessarily have to, but that's just how I do it. There we go. This one is the one that's going to have the screw. It's the ball with the screen on it that filters your fuel. And we'll get that one out of there. These ones I've had them break off, and it's not hard to get the little filter out. You just turn the your gas tank over, and it'll come rolling out. There we go. I see you can find the right kits. Of course, they were sold out because I was wanting to do it with this one. But they'll come. This is the screen. It'll come with that. It'll come with the new lines, and it will come with the primer ball. But naturally, since I was wanting to do this, they was out. This one swelled up pretty good, so I don't know if it's going to slide through that hole. And it doesn't have a connector in it, so I think I'll just snip that one off. So just cut it off up there. Should snap right off. Yep. Set that aside. Pull your tubing through, and then there you go. It's all out. Yeah, I wish they'd have had that. It doesn't look bad, but it's nice life changing. There's a little bit more of that gas. And you'll see on the holes, you see where you got the one bigger on the bottom, small, diameter wise. You got the bigger one here, the smaller one there. The bigger one's your primer. So we'll run with get this small one. Try to get it through so we can get the filter piece back on it. Now some of these you can finesse them and they'll pop straight in. Now I've had a couple of them. Yeah, might go to this one. I've cut them because some of them will come with some kind of a wire tool, and I've never been able to get that thing to work. It's in some of the kits. The way I always end up doing it is sometimes this goes quick, sometimes it can be time consuming, is take the line and just give it a little snip, and it takes a little piece off, helps you feed it through the hole to get it started. And sometimes it's an easy process, sometimes it's a little time consuming, but either way it's usually not too bad. You just fold it over, get it down in there, and yeah, I think it's starting to go. Yeah, she's going. So that's not so bad. Makes it a little easier. It helps you get it the feed started on it. And I have my other pair. These ones are, you see, curved. I had the ones I usually use are longer than this, so you can reach in there farther, so I'm hoping these will reach it. Yep, there it goes. So you can see where it's pulling on it. It's drawing it down. So we'll just pull it down and through, and where you cut it to where it's angled, snip it off, make it flat, and you can kind of measure how long your line actually needs to be. You just got to remember though, I mean, I always leave just a little bit of slack in it, so when the tank comes up, you know, just, you don't want to keep it to where it's too tight and you know, drawing too much tension between the carburetor and the tank, and you don't want to keep there so much slack that it gets a kink in it. So let's pull that through some, and we'll take and get this ball off of here. Yep, it was definitely bad on that end. Some of the funk off of it. That should pop right on. Some of them, let me see, they can be a bear sometimes to get them to slide up over that. Now a couple of these I've had in the past, of course, you know, can't complain, I got them for nothing to fix up and give to people, but where people replaced the lines, they took these off and just left them out. Which, you know, you do whatever works for you, but you know, you leave those out and then you're sucking all that garbage up into your carburetor. People don't, you know, they don't realize how dirty gas can actually be. Alright, let me shove this up on there. It's going on nice and tight. The way I do it is shove down on the line and twist. And there we go. Just shove, push down on the line and twist at the same time. Yeah, they're tough to get on, but it'll go. Just drop it back down. Yeah, that thing's a little dirty, but the gas will break it down. It's off my fingers. Just drop it down in there, and you want to make sure you can kind of see it bouncing around. You can kind of see. You just want to give it enough to where it goes. I always give it enough to where it drops down to the back of the tank, so I know it has plenty enough fuel line in there. Cause you to run out of fuel. There we go, I think that's about it. Yeah, okay, so it's down there. So that takes care of the primer ball. I'm sorry, the primer ball. That takes care of the fuel line. So that leaves the primer. Same way, if you can't get it to start feeding through, which is going to be a bear, so take the same way, just snip it at an angle, just like that. Squeeze it together. She should start going. Yep, there it goes. It's going in. Get your little curved deal here, and then you can reach right in, grab a hold of your line, start drawing it in. Now, with that one, you want to set, you can set it however deep you prefer to set it. You know, like the one that's originally in it, you know, it goes off a full tank when you know, so it's usually like right around in here. When I set them, I usually drop them down farther into the tank, so I know for a fact it's getting fuel. So let's drop it down just a little more, and that should do it. It's that easy to get them lines in. And get the cap back on it. That's it. You know, it's that simple, and that's it. Bolts back up. Oh, I'm sorry, goes this way. Bolts back up. You just got to remember which way to run your lines. And the good part about it, they're different diameters, so naturally you have a small nipple on one side and a large nipple on the other. So they're pretty much foolproof to get on. And I'll get this cover back on real quick and we'll hook the lines up. Alright, I got the tanks back onto the plastic cover, so this isn't hooked onto the trimmer yet. But, so what to figure out is how long you actually want your lines. So we got the big line is in the front, small line, well, so it is in the, well, I guess it'd be the front facing us, and then onto the inside for the main fuel line is a smaller diameter. So if you set that up there, you can kind of judge how long you want them. The same when I do them, I like to keep it to where there's just enough to where it has a little bit of curve in it, you know, to where it's not like something like it's pulling on it, or you don't want so much that you end up, you know, like a kink in the line, hard for it to draw fuel. And I'll figure out where I want them. So that one's got just a little bit of bow in it. And then just grab a hold of it with some cutters and trim her off. Trying to cut straight as possible. Now the main fuel line, same way. Like getting it to where there's just a little bit of a bow in it there, so it seems like it's nice and comfortable in its spot. Same way, get it to where you think it needs to be. You're better off cutting a little extra if you need to. At least that, you know, you're better to have an extra than cutting it way too short. Been there, done that, and then you're out of luck. You're buying another kit. Or if you have enough down in the tank, as you know, you can draw it up some, you know, shorten the length up inside the tank to reach the carb. So then that's it. You just take your lines, make sure you got the right diameter line going to where it needs to go, and wrestle it up in there. So if the cover loose, obviously it makes it a little easier. You can try to finesse it up on there. This really, it ain't as bad as it looks. Oh, come on. Let's see. Yeah, the primer slides right on, no issue. With the cover on, makes it a little harder to do the main fuel line. Let's see if we can wrestle it on there without having to take all that apart. I prefer not to, but I might have to. I cannot, yeah, I'm pulling on it as I'm pushing on it. There she goes, I think. Yep. That's going. Alright, it's up on there. We'll get the primer up on there. And then you can see where your lines are at. Turn them. Put the bow in. You don't want them bowing out. No kinks. And that's it. New set of fuel lines. That one's probably maybe just the main fuel line is probably just a touch too long, but yeah, it's good. It ain't going nowhere. And you have to watch if you have one that's like this one with the screws. The top screw that was up there by the spark plug in this hole here, it's a whole different thread. You can see the thread pattern on it some more, make you think of a wood screw because it's going plastic to plastic instead of plastic to, you know, metal or aluminum in this case. And we'll get these in real quick. I'll get some fuel in it, make sure everything's working, get it fired up. Right back. Alright, everything's back together, fuel in it. Make sure it's sucking up. Yep, here comes the fuel. Gas cap's leaking. Yep, needs a gas cap gasket. Alright, just getting primer up, or gas up through the primer. Get this thing back a little bit and see if we get her to fire up. Last time we had it running, it ran pretty good, so let's try her out. Choke. There we go. Get up here where you can see it. It's gas cap's leaking a little bit, but as far as the fuel lines go, let me see if I can get this to where you can see that in there. Here's the last video, if you've seen it, of this thing. You get in there by the tank. You can see up here where the lines go in. We had it running, and where the lines went in, they was dry, shrunk, they wouldn't seal, so the gas was just shooting out all over. The cap wasn't leaking, but now the cap apparently picked up a leak, so it's probably just a gasket on the cap, no big deal. One of those I probably have laying around. Now we'll warm her up, see if it stay running on its own. I hope. Should, did before. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Alright. We're going to try to level her out some, I think. Okay. Alright, let's try it again. Chokes off. Primer a couple times. See what we get. There you go. So it worked just fine. Just got to get the cap. For whatever reason, didn't do it before. Maybe it's something to do with pressure in there, but works good. So that takes care of this weed eater. I'll replace the cap on it. Hopefully it takes care of it. Get all the funk and gunk cleaned out of. Got string on it, the guards on it. Audio got to straighten up sharpen up the blade on the front where it spins around, trims the line off. That's it as far as the lines go, and hopefully that helps you out. BH Woke. It's capital B, capital H, capital WOKE. If you guys want to check him out, he's does looks like a bunch of Fortnite stuff. So, buddy, I hope it helps you out. Thanks for asking. And if anything else help you out, just give me a holler. Right now I don't have, I think I got one more set. I got the other weed eater. It's like this one. I got to put a set of fuel lines on it. Then it's ready to go. Change the cap on this one and clean it. It's pretty much done. Have to find someone to give it to give it a new home. And thanks for watching.